Hey guys, hope you're doing good. Today, I want us to have a conversation around the most important skill you can have in a business, right? And this is, what is that lever that if you can pull correctly, the world literally bends towards your will, right? What is that angle that if you can harness it correctly, you would turn an ordinary business into an extraordinary empire, cashing in billions of dollars in revenue every single year. Now, for context, there are a lot of skills. You need a diverse range of skill set as an entrepreneur when running a business, and that can go from leadership to hiring to product development to branding to finance. Name them, right? There is a lot of them. And those, I would say that pretty much all of those become useless when you don't have one thing that matters in business. If no one is buying your offer, everything else there is useless, right? So I would say that what separates men from boys in business, it's actually distribution, right? And I would say that there is a lot that you need to understand in business, but if you can actually crack this key of distributing, then you are ahead of 99% of business in the marketplace. Now, we all know that every master is once a beginner, and today I want to take you to the beginner level and walk your way up to the mastery level. Because right now you may be wondering, okay, I understand distribution, but now, how does that path works, right? Where does it connect? How do I understand this from the roots so that I may actually attack this from the right approach, right? So allow me to give you 4 levels of entrepreneurs, and you may actually now figure out why you are the way you are in business, or what's wrong with your current stage and what you should be aspiring to as in your next level, right? So there are 4 stages of entrepreneurs, or 4 levels, call them however you want, right? The first level of entrepreneurs, I would actually call them the first-time entrepreneurs. They're product-centric, right? You can tell an entrepreneur is the first time by the obsession they have when talking about their products, because they believe that a great product translates into an amazing business. And you and I, we both know that you can have an amazing product, and if your distribution is not correct, you'll end up failing your business, right? So their language is more of, my product is one of its kind. There is nothing like this on the market. It's made of fine quality ingredients from Asia or whatever country you name them, and you cannot find them anywhere else. And this is what makes our business unique, because our product is unique. Now, fast forward when they're running their business with a perfect product, they learn a great lesson that you can have a perfect product. If you don't have your distribution correct, your business will fail, right? So first-time entrepreneurs, they go in business with the mindset that what I need to succeed in business is that I have a great product, right? And when they fail, they learn this lesson, that distribution is the king. This is why the second level of entrepreneurs, they don't focus on product as much as they focus on distribution. Okay, so second-time entrepreneurs or second-level entrepreneurs, they're distribution-centered, right? And you can tell an entrepreneur is actually experienced or second level by the language they use. You know, they will tell you how many stores they are in. They'll tell you what the average acquisition of the customer is on their e-commerce. They will tell you how their franchise model works, because at the first time they learned that they had a great product and their business failed either way. Now they focus on distribution because they understand that if I can move more products than the next person, then I may actually stay longer in business than the average person, right? So they focus on distribution. However, as much as they distribute, they learn another great lesson, that the bigger they are pushing their products on a much bigger volume, someone else who is not working as hard as they can is earning a bigger cut while they take on a small chunk of money on their profits, right? So they learn a valuable lesson, which third-time entrepreneur understand better, right? So third-level entrepreneurs, they transcend the level of distribution and they actually enter into a level of value chain, right? This is where now the language becomes more of ownership rather than management, right? So this is where a person will literally go out and own the entire value chain that it takes for them to actually do business, right? So they will go and buy the plots of land. They set up the manufacturing plant, they set up the logistics system, every single thing, every single lever that moves the business, they will go and own that, right? And as a byproduct of that, they are not at the mercy of the tiny margins of the product they sell, because they can make money all the way from where the actually value begins from. Make sense? So these are third-time entrepreneurs. They own the whole value chain. Now, fourth-level entrepreneurs, they're built different. They go beyond owning value chain and they build ecosystems. So they're ecosystem-centric. These are people who will actually find a way that every single thing correlates with one another, right? Where you will need this product interoperating with this so that you can have a successful model working together. And when you leave that ecosystem, somehow your life looks like malfunctioning in a way, because they've built an ecosystem around that you depend on to run a business, to survive, to do anything you want to do in this world, right? Now, let me illustrate these 4 levels with maybe practical examples to help you understand better how these levels works, right? So we can say that first-time entrepreneurs, we can take a local shop in your town, right? When you go at a small boutique to buy anything of your own, that's first level of entrepreneurship, right? And that first level is more of, let's say you set up a coffee shop, right? So you go out, you set up a coffee shop, and you believe you have the best coffee, and you might have, which is maybe even better than Starbucks. And you run this coffee shop on the premise that since I have a best coffee in the world, then I'm likely to succeed, right? And we've seen mostly these small businesses failing, irregardless of their good products. And this is why I'm talking about this subject, because this level of entrepreneurship is product-centric on first level. Now, second-time entrepreneur will not rely on setting up a coffee shop. They'll try to get, different locations for their coffee shops. They'll try to license these things so that you can franchise it. They'll try to even make products that you can buy in supermarkets so that they just don't depend on you coming in the small coffee shop of them for them to make money. Make sense? Now, third level entrepreneurs, as they're in value chain game, they will go ahead and buy the land, right, on which the coffee is planted. They'll set up manufacturing plants for coffee. They'll set up the vehicles to transport coffee from the manufacturing plants to supermarkets, to coffee shops, to everywhere. So if you can see that even if they don't make money on coffee shop, they can make them on land production, they can make them on manufacturing, they can make money on logistics, and this is where the game actually becomes different, right? And fourth level of entrepreneurs, they'll actually now set up a whole ecosystem of the coffee thing. They might even produce, these small mixers for coffees that you can take for your home. They can assemble a payment system or a membership system in which coffee lovers can get involved in, and you can see how this level transcend one another, right? So if we can talk about maybe second level, we can say that's supermarket. First level is a local shop. Third level, we can talk about maybe Dangote, Dangote Group. That's a whole value chain. The guy has everything from land to manufacturing to logistics to from where the value is created, he's involved up to the end user, right? And that's the value chain game. And fourth level entrepreneurs are like Amazon. You can see that it's a whole ecosystem. There is a distribution model where the products can be distributed by Amazon, sold by Amazon, kept by Amazon. They can produce their own shop, promote their own thing, Amazon Prime and everything, right? And you can say the same to Netflix, same to Google, same to, so you can see that it's an ecosystem. Same to Apple, you have a phone, which is an iPhone, you have earphones, which are, Apple, you have a payment system, which is iPay. You can see that the whole thing is actually interconnected. And when you have that thing, it's like you are locked in. You can't seem to move out, right? And that's a different game you're playing. And the reason why I had to actually go through this is to communicate a very simple message. If you are aspiring to become a great entrepreneur, you need to transcend the level of building products and think about distribution, think about value chain, and later on think about an ecosystem. So it's an exercise for you. As you're building a business, what does the levels looks like? Can you actually picture how you can move from level 1 up to level 4 as you have an ecosystem of your own business working interoperability within your products and services that you offer? And when you can actually think on that level, that's where your game becomes different, right? But for the purpose of today's conversation, I just want to nail down on this conversation of distribution, aka sales. Now, if you're like most people, what's your visceral reaction when someone talks about sales? What's the imagery in your mind? What do you think about? To most people, what comes to mind first is manipulation. It's forceful, it's pushy, it's aggressive. And this is simply because we have not been properly introduced to the actual and proper way of selling, right? Now, coming from me as a person who has close to a decade in this industry of selling and coaching people how to sell, I know what sales looks like, and I promise you, that is not it, right? And I want to actually walk you through. And maybe today it's not going to be practical, it's not going to be tips and everything around. It's going to be something fundamental, something that when you understand and apply properly, anything else, those tactics, they become like spice to the actual meal. But right now, I want to introduce you to the proper way of selling, right? Now, this is what I believe. Let me ask you a small question. When you are seated with a person or you are on a sales phone call with a prospect, what's your end goal in mind? What's the purpose? What does the actual end look like? If you're like most people, what you want out of a sales conversation is for the prospect to buy, right? Now, if that's the way you think, I believe you should correct it, because that's not the right way to approach sales. The goal of you sitting with a prospect should not to sell them. The goal should be to facilitate the decision-making of the prospect, irregardless of what that decision looks like. And the decision might be to not buy, or the decision can be to buy. And the beautiful way about this kind of way of thinking is because it relieves pressure of you. Now you're not just obsessed of getting a person to buy, because one thing we need to understand is that people love to buy, but they hate to be sold, right? So your ultimate job should not be to sell the person, it should be to let the person sell themselves, right? And this is what I believe. When you understand this kind of way of thinking, this framework around sales, it gives you another level of compassion, of empathy, of curiosity around navigating this world of sales, because you're not obsessed over whether the person will buy or not, right? I'll tell you as it is, for the period I've been in sales, the best feeling for me has not been seeing money hitting my bank as a person buy, of course, and I can't discount that feeling. It's good, of course. But I'll say the best feeling that I get in sales is when I actually get on a sales call with a person, facilitate that conversation, help them see themselves, see the product, see if it's a good fit, and at the end of the day, they decide upon themselves, right? And the beautiful model that we're using here is that at the end of the sales calls, you don't even feel bad when they don't buy. In fact, they feel bad about not buying, right? Because you're the good guy here. And so that should be the way you look at sales. You should actually make people feel bad for not buying for you. And that is not intentionally manipulative. That is just the nature of sales, right? Because you are not there to force the offer down their throats. You are there to help them see if that is actually something they have been looking for. And this relieves the pressure of you, because all of a sudden now you're looking for people who are looking for you. Make sense? So I would say the best way to understand this is to actually understand that when you are facilitating a sales conversation, the ultimate goal you are looking for is to facilitate the decision making. That's your role as a salesperson, right? So in your business, in your company, in your ventures, sales will be the bloodline of your business. If you're not selling, I promise, in a matter of time, you will not survive. So there is a lot of sales process that we can walk through to help you better understand how to approach this. But the purpose for today's video is to transition your focus, right? As in sales, your focus is to facilitate the decision making, right? And the more you understand that, the more you practice that, the more you actually tap into that, the more you will see the possibilities of, because now when you conduct the conversation that way, you are actually doing things that are in best interest of the other person, which is what we should be doing as human being, right? Because sometimes the best thing you can do for a person is to tell them, hey, I don't believe this product is for you. Because at the end of the day, you have seen that this is not something that will help them solve the problem they have, right? And this is what will make you master this art of selling, right? So we shall dive in deeper on handling objections that will come. We shall dive in deeper on how to structure the sales process along the way. We shall dive into every single thing that is involved into the whole process of selling. But right now, if there is one message you'll take home, is that sales doesn't have to be manipulative. It doesn't have to be forceful. It doesn't have to be pushy. Sales can be enthusiastic. It can be curiosity. It can be empathy. It can be guidance. It can be facilitation, right? And when you approach that from that angle, not only your life will become better, but most people will resonate with you. And people will actually want to do more business with you over time. And that is simply my message for today. Stop selling, start facilitating decision making. Maybe sales is not about pushing, it's about pulling. Maybe sales is not about manipulation, it's about transparency. Maybe sales is not about talking, it's about listening. If we can adopt this framework of thinking, not only will sales be something you enjoy to do, but also you'll get the most satisfaction out of doing that. I believe that this adds value to the way you think, the way you do things, and I hope to do more videos on this. And let me know what your comment could be, what your feedback is, what I should nail in the most as I try to help you better and serve you better in this 2024. Thank you for keeping up with the channel. Subscribe, share, like. Let's go. Cheers.